Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader Ecosystem webinar room. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Tiffany Sampson and I work for NinjaTrader in our Denver office. We have a very special event for you today with Paul and Matt of Stealth Traders. I'd like to mention that it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity future contracts and forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstances and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and can even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the link below for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to NinjaTrader Brokerage directly at the information provided. With new tools added nearly every day, NinjaTrader Ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find the tools and services you're looking for with a simple keyword search. You'll also find information about upcoming webinars and on-demand video archive to view event recordings. Also, if you are active on social media, please ensure to like or follow us for the best way to get updates on all things NinjaTrader Ecosystem. NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade stimulation. To ensure that you are on the latest version of NinjaTrader and pick up a free live data trial, please visit the following link. You can purchase or lease NinjaTrader at the following link. And if you are just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live training on a daily basis. You can view a schedule of weekly webinars at the following link. We are very excited for this unique event in which Paul and Matt will demonstrate how to precisely execute and manage high percentage signals. Thanks again for your attendance today, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Paul and Matt. Please take it away, Paul and Matt.
Hi there. Hi, this is Matt. How's everybody doing today? Thank you for attending. We are Stealth Traders, and this webinar is going to focus on how to execute and manage high percentage signals. Now, a little housekeeping first. We have a disclaimer as well. Generally, futures trading is risky, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So without further ado, we will have questions at the end. But if you have something that you feel is pertinent during the webinar, don't hesitate to ask. Also, we have some great specials for you at the end as well. So without further ado, Paul is going to take it away.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Tiffany. So let's get right into it. We're looking at the ES. Current contract, it's a 987 tick, and today I'm going to go over some signals and some management with price. We have right here at 751 one of our highest percentage signals. It's with the green dot and triangle, and I'm going to eclipse that for you. What this is our hyper snapback. And the reason why I bring it up, it's a predictive move. It's giving you a little bit of insight in future into what's going to actually happen. So as price at around 751 is coming down from this short. So if you're not in this short, you're pretty much out of the short if you were in it because it's starting to go sideways. So what constitutes a sideways move? So very simply, as these bars, which are 987 tick, those are volume bars. So each bar is 987. So it's going to tell me the good volume and the bad volume according to the signal. So I have a hyper snapback up, so I want these bars to turn green. And they're not doing that. I have every other one is actually red, green, green. So what we do have is a low, which is the dynamic target line, which is magenta right here. So in order for this price to accelerate down, it needs to break this line, and it hasn't done that. The hyper snapback is telling us it won't do that. It's a predictive signal into the future. So I'm just going to call this, at this point, it's a failed new low. Failed new lows are very important because it tells you trend change. So we'll just put right here, I'm going to abbreviate it. Failed new low. And well, that's not opening. So basically these bars are failing to go lower. The hyper snapback, as it leaves the minus 150, or having the eclipse, is starting to trend up a little bit. So where is the precise entry we want to enter this trade? And if you repeat this signal over and over again, which I'll demonstrate in other contracts, what's important here is the hyper snapback line goes above 0. So that's telling me that we're in a trend change. Not what if, maybe. No, you're in a trend change. So if we go up and you're patient enough, so that's right in this area here. So this is where we're long, right along this bar. Now walking through and talking about it is easy, but if you repeat this signal over and over again when you see it, whatever time frame, our system's fractal. So now that we're in the trade, I like to use a 10 tick stop. So that would be under the previous bar or the momentum band. So that would be in this area. And I'll just type that in for you. Okay, that's a 10 tick stop. So now we're in the trade. So how do we manage it? How do we manage it? What you should note, it's very important that when the hyper snapback line goes above the 0, you are in a trend change. Just like it went down below 0, you're in a confirmed trend change. That's very important because your trend is your friend and you don't want to go against that. So now as the trade actually starts to accelerate, and it does accelerate, swinging away from the momentum band. So basically what you have here is green, we go long. Hyper snapback line is green. The momentum study is green. We already have our several failed new lows. So the trade starts to accelerate. We move our stop behind the dynamic target line on each bar, which would, so we want to lock in profit. We don't want to give anything back if the trade decided to turn, and it can happen. This didn't happen here. So as it accelerates up, you're going to put your trade, your stop, as you manage the trade below this bar, and also understanding that the momentum study is showing the velocity and the parabolic assault that this trade is actually doing right now. So in this area, as it swings high and comes back, there's a couple things to remember. You've already locked in profit. If you got stopped out, you can re-enter here. There's a little bit of a snapback with the white at the 0 line. But also, if this band doesn't change color, you don't get out. Just sit on your hands, be patient. Sometimes it's hard because we have emotion, but you have to learn how to become a mechanical trader. I mean, we're human, we're not going to get rid of the emotion, but we have to control it. So as the trade accelerates, it does actually make a new high here. What I normally do, especially with this large candle, is I'll just bring my stop right below the actual high. It gets stopped out, the market goes sideways. and we're out of the trade. Now I know I covered a lot right here. If there's any questions, I'll take them on this particular setup. If not, I'll just continue.
No
No
questions at this time.
Okay. So let's look at because what I do is I use different. Let's just look at this at a 5-minute. So the drawings are from the 987. So you can see here on the 5-minute, the entry is in this area. So if you had a 987 and a 5-minute up, so that's your entry. And then we have right at around 7, a hyper snap back up. So we can look at that, but you can see that the 5-minute complemented the 987. If you're a beginner, there's one time frame. The system's Fractal. At more advanced, I'd like you to build up to 3 different screens simultaneously. And you just want the trade to cycle in the direction. So this particular trade at 987, you can enter on a lower time frame, 5-minute 987, 512. Those all complement each other. So right here, as eclipsed earlier, this is just another hyper snapback on a 5-minute, and the trade just goes straight up. So the hyper snapback's an excellent signal. What you can do if you wanted to wait until you had a confirmed trend change, I like to wait on the 5-minute 3 bars. So right in this area, it goes above 0, and that would equal this on the bar. And you can see, as I mentioned earlier, about the bar charts and why I like to use them. Even on the 5-minute, every bar is just 5 minutes. It doesn't really map the market out like a tick will. But you can see all the bars are green, so your volume is positive with the trade. We just don't want to have a volume chart up because it'll just confuse you. We want positive volume on a positive trade, negative volume on a negative trade. So let's switch and see another contract. Let's go to NQ. So on the NQ, I will highlight this hyper snap back up. And notice how choppy the market was today on both of these contracts. So the snapback starts to fire off. We have a predictive signal. It's actually telling the future from even before 7 this morning. This is Pacific Standard Time for me. And also you can notice this type of candle formation, that's called a dragonfly. That's something to note. That is telling us that this downward move is done. Because at one point this bar was red and it pushed up, so the volume switched, the momentum switched, and the velocity went to the upside. So we want to have a precise entry with this actual signal. And we actually have here a postal move, which is where the hyper snapback line, which is the yellow, which is the red and green, All right, I will show the forex contracts as soon as I'm done with this NQ. Somebody sent over a question. So as you can see here too, just repeating what we had on the ES. Here I'll mark it in again. So when you look back at the video, here's your failed new low. And the dynamic target line is constantly monitoring price. So what happens is with the yellow line, which is the hyper snapback line, it looks for an anomaly in price. We developed this. It's a proprietary indicator that we keep secret. And when you see the actual, here I have two green dots. It's looking at the hyper snapback line in relationship to price. So the highest percentage signal on a snapback is the yellow. For example, here you have white, and I'll highlight that for you. The white is telling us that if you miss this trade and you want to re-enter, or you were in the trade, this is from let's say 4 to 5, you missed the trade, you can re-enter as soon as the white line leaves the minus 150, which would put you in right here. Of course, it's pre-market, so you want to watch your stop and your management. I'm not going to get into a lot of stop management today. If you purchase the full stealth mode, I'll give you a lot of ways to set up for profit stops, targets, and how it moves your actual stop management. That's a lot more extensive. That's another webinar. But there's at the end of the webinar today, we have a lot of specials, so just hang in there. Now the yellow line, as you can see, there is no hyper snapback here. Market kind of went sideways on this upward move, and then it created the white hyper snapback, or just we can call it white snapback. That's what I normally do. And then you have another one here, and that finishes off, and it's predicting, which is really nice, this big candle. So you can be assured right here, you're not going short. You don't think about going short here because the market's not overbought here. We don't look at the market as being overbought or oversold. We look for these anomalies in price, and we trade them. They're very high percentage signals. If you go back and look at my tweets that I post right when I trade, they're very accurate. They work off of these. We post those live when we do them. So moving right along. So the white is showing an anomaly within price, and the yellow shows an anomaly within price, because all these studies are constantly tracking price. And they create the different, the dots and the triangles, which some have different, some have certain values. That's why the yellow has more value than the white. And as you can see over here on the left part of the screen, all these snapbacks that are going down, they're all going down. They're all successful. I mean, look at that. Every single one of those. So if you just play the snapback, shorted the snapbacks, they're all successful. And that, when you listen to a lot of people and they tell you, I'm giving you a live market review right here. We traded this morning. Some of you may have looked at it. I didn't prepare for this. This is just me turning the computer on and showing you how the full stealth mode works in the market. And I want to go, someone asked about forex. I believe this is a forex contract, and well, we can change things around, but the hyper snapback works on every contract, every time frame, and then once again you see the different signals that we actually have. Let me okay, somebody requested the 5-minute. Be patient. Okay, so a little bit after 8 o'clock, sticking with the hyper snapback. Here's a hyper snapback with a diamond. A diamond is stronger momentum in this particular instance to the upside. If there were some dots that were with it, that's fine. They're both very high percentage, but the diamond is telling us that as price moved down and it stayed above the zero line. Remember, it's very important, the zero line here. I want to make a notation so you understand that. This snapback saying, well, we're going to retest the highs. Let me just put that in here. So if you're watching, you go, well, maybe I should go short here if I didn't go right away. So the hyper snapback line just kind of kisses the zero line, and then the diamond is there, so it leaves minus 150. So the trade starts to take off, and it retests a high. It's the same type of management. Now, what would happen on a 5-minute, a 3-minute? We can look at. I want to actually show this move here. So that worked on the ES, it works on the NQ, it works on GBD, GBP, US dollar. It works on everything. It's just fractal. It's amazing what we've developed here. We don't do a lot of webinars, but when we do them, we like to give you the precise signals that we want you to trade. So I really want you to go over this video and use it as a learning tool. And we'll try to isolate that signal. So you had the 5-minute that we're looking at. Let's see if a lower time frame is agreeing with the 5-minute. I'll get to all your requests as long as I have the time. Okay. So this is the trade that I isolated on the 5-minute hyper snapback. So you're going to get a better fill. So remember we had a 5-minute hyper snapback. So if you're looking at the 512, 610, whatever you put up, it's going to agree. So this is where you're going to be long. They're also this is a buy signal on the hyper snapback line. It wants to transition to zone and go to the next zone. And here's you actually move your stops in behind here as this goes up. Here's a stop here. Remember, it's 8 to 10 ticks. You most likely get stopped out because there's a hyper snapback down, but that's just an anomaly that happens with price. There's wave patterns in here that create noise within the trade, but when you get more developed and you learn the actual system, you can stay in this trade until the band turns red, and it's right there. And also on the 512, here's another hyper snapback. This is a nice one. Remember the trend, the zero line, so it just kisses that zero line. It creates a little sideways motion here at the end of this downward move. Crosses over. This is a postal move when the red and green hyper snapback line break through both of them above the zero, and then it's confirmed into the buy zone. So once again, you're long here in the same kind of trade management. Here at 12 o'clock, there's a hyper snapback down. Looks like it's with a white too, so you can see the little white dot in there. So you have a hyper snapback on the yellow and the white. So if you just take this move, when this is another notation that I want you to remember, when the yellow line and the white line hit the zero line, that anomaly is done. Now we're looking at momentum. So it snapped back down. If you were stopped out, which is fine, you were stopped out with a profit, and then you have momentum that brings you down to a low. When I say momentum, it's because the band never changed color. It's kind of color coordinated here. Red we go short, green we go long. Someone asked about the YM. So this is kind of a question. Okay. The contract rolled over today. This is a 512, but just real quickly, on the 512, there's our famous signal, the hyper snapback. Here's a hyper snapback. White snapbacks, they all work. It's just that simple. All these, if you missed any of the entries, these are re-entry points. If you want to add on contracts, if you started on this failure here and you want to just add on contracts, you have the white snapbacks and the hyper snapback. Now I'm going to go to the 2-minute, which was requested. So here, this is showing the fractal nature of the system. Trade 2 minutes, trade 1 minute. So right here we have a hyper snapback up a little bit before 8. I want to isolate that for you. That's right here. So this drop down. If you weren't in the move, this is a different setup. It's a momentum breakdown, so the market kind of goes sideways here. But we have a predictive signal on this large downward candle. The market's going sideways. It breaks up. So where you want to enter this trade, it's going to be on one of these bars because the minus 150 is broken. So it's important that you understand that when the yellow goes through the minus 150, that's when you engage the trade. All right, so and it's the same trade management. Then you have a 10 tick stop, maybe. Well, that's it's 1 point on the YM. The YM I would do a 7. So you see, we've covered a lot of contracts, different time frames, and the hyper snapback is successful. I'm going to give it back to Matt. He's going to tell you about all of our specials. I appreciate your time, and Tiffany, you've been a great help. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello everybody. I hope you're learning a lot about our system. I'm going to keep it quick because we have a lot of questions that we want to get to. First of all, I'd just like to say that our hyper snapback indicator is proprietary. Nobody else has this. We've been developing it for over 30 years. You're not going to see it anywhere else. If you want to contact us, this is how if you want to follow us, we're on YouTube. You can see some videos there, Facebook, Twitter. We're tweeting all the time trades that we do. If you want to contact us, email, phone, Skype. Also, on our website, on every page, there you can open up the chat. Just chat something in there, and we can live chat with you as well. Now, getting to the special offers for all attendees today, we're going to offer 20% off all indicators, and that includes full stealth mode. And what full stealth mode is, it's a it's a specially priced suite of all 5 of our indicators, and use the coupon code you see there, STWebinar912. That offer is good through today only, midnight Eastern Standard Time, for a purchase of all indicators. And additionally, if you do get the full stealth mode today, you'll get, not only will you get the 20% off, but you will get 2 free 1-hour live market one-on-one training sessions with Paul Levine, the person who was just educating you right now. So that offer as well, that offer is for the first 10 purchasers of the first stealth mode, and the 20% offer is good to midnight Eastern Time tonight. Now I'm going to pass it back to Paul, and we're going to get to all your questions right now. I'm going to put the coupon code in the chat. Okay, Paul.
Okay, so do I have any questions?
Yeah, we have a lot of questions here. Okay, let's start. Okay. Oh, can you show the CL chart? And also someone requests, can we see the actual live data populating in the chart as well? Just, I suppose, any CL chart from today.
I'll take it off at the 2-minute, but let it boot up. I wouldn't suggest using the 2-minute alone on the CL. That's a very wild contract. Now the question was?
They just wanted to see this, any CL chart. Obviously, you can see it. Let's just use the current time frame.
I'm going to change it.
You can point out the hyper snapback.
Okay. We'll look for the anomalies, and they do appear on every contract. It also helps you understand how you don't have to trade every move. You want to trade the high percentage moves, because that's the one that's going to.
Can you also put the chart all the way to the right so we can see it populating? I don't know if there's any data.
Here?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any
Here?
data. Yeah, there, so people can see.
Okay. Well, let's make a few points here towards, what's it, 10:30. There is a predictive white snapback.
Okay, so
And it does
Paul,
fire up.
So Saif asks, how are these signals managed in real time?
Well, if you go back to the beginning of the actual video, for example, on a this hyper snapback up here on the 1597, your stop is right behind the actual diamonds. I would say maybe 10 ticks. So your stop would be in this area. That's how you'd manage it real time. You always put your stop behind the white snapback or the yellow hyper snapback. That's important to make a note of that. It's in the video. It is predictive. So what we also have here is we have a sell signal, and what happened is these wave patterns just came down and it created a counter trend move. And when you develop on the 1597, that's a decent move. So you can be short and then long. You can, when you first purchase the software, we can teach you how to just trade the two different snapbacks. There are other moves that go along with it, but these are very high percentage. They're very easy to actually learn. Here's another very strong hyper snapback down. This leaves the plus 150, and your stop in real time will be right above here. As soon as the trade runs into profit, you can put it behind the dynamic target lines. You don't have to panic. Oh, what do I do? I'm up hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. You're going to constantly deposit money in your bank. You will have trades that will lose, but there'll be trades that were marginally small, and that doesn't deplete your account. One of the most important things that I teach is never. You can see here when not to make a trade, and I can teach that more extensively. The webinar is just not long enough on when never to make a trade, and it's simple, and we can actually go over that. I hope that answers your question, but once again, you would put your stop. I'll just write that out. So the stop is behind this snapback down, behind this snapback up. Or 10 tick. Does that answer your question? I think so. And this trade management, is this a little different? And we can go over that too. I have an extensive background in trade management. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. Someone asked, what exactly is a hyper snapback?
It's a proprietary study. It looks for an anomaly whether the market is long or short, and you can see it here on this screen at around 734. But it's predictive. It's look, you're a fortune teller. You're getting the futures. You're having a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute head start on which way the market's going. That's astronomically immense for your account. You just don't have it anywhere. What creates it? I can't tell you the actual. It's just there. I can show it to you on the screen. It's something that I have found over 30 years of trading, and I've gone over numerous contracts today. It works on every one of them. It even worked on 2 minutes. I haven't looked at a 2-minute time frame in a while, and it works on that. It's just going to work on everything. If you look up what fractal means, that's actually what one of the aspects of the hyper snapback and white snapback is. Matt, if you want to elaborate, you can go right ahead, because Matt writes a lot of software that I design.
No, actually, we're running out of time, so let's get to further questions. Anyone have more questions, please feel free to email us. We're happy to answer all your questions, but we want to get to these questions in the webinar here. Okay, Dan asked, it looks like there are a couple of white snapbacks around 720 that indicate a buy, but the price continues down. What is up with that?
Very good question. So what happens is, as the snapback wants to fire, remember I said it has to go and break through the minus 150 or break through the plus 150 here in this hyper snapback. It veers off. So if you were short in this trade from another signal, you would be cautious to bring your stop very tight, but as it turns in the other direction, the trade goes down immensely. So it's important that as you see here at a 713, it does fire up and hits, and this is your anomaly that makes a new high. So it just didn't quite have enough energy. It did push one of the candles up, but it's more that you know, if you were going to take that trade, you wouldn't, because it didn't penetrate through the minus 150. The hyper snapback, which is a stronger signal, and you would understand that this is a counter trend move because this is already halfway into the move down, and it's just how price moves. There's noise within the price, within this actual movement here showing on the momentum band. You have velocity down, and it tries to test the top of the band, and it does that with a hyper snapback. So if you wanted to be a counter trend trader, as you get more advanced, you can be shorting this and then purchase it at the same time, and then it comes back down again because the trend is down. So it's important that the minus 150 and the plus 150 are engaged when you want to enter the trade. So you would, well, I want to wait one bar. No, I'm not going to enter it. The trade is actually still good.
Paul, Brian asks, how do you read the 734 signal as a short signal?
Okay, the 734 is with the snapback up. So like I said, there's white noise. And remember I said the zero line. So right here, as the momentum, remember the momentum is not always a trend change. But here, when the hyper snapback line goes through the zero, which I showed in the earlier video, it's just telling you that momentum and the strength of the move and the trend is confirmed, and it continues down. So this, like I said before, this is a counter trend move, and that should explain it. It's very important that you understand, a lot of times you hear, oh, how do I know where the trend is? Where is it? Well, I'm telling you, this is not a what if or but or and. When that, but be, not the other one. So when this goes through the zero line, you're a confirmed downward trend, and look how much farther it goes. It goes halfway down more. That's just half of the move when it starts, and it continues on down. So it's important that you understand what trend you're in. You really wouldn't want to take this snapback up because it's a counter trend move because my hyper snapback line went below zero. That should answer your question. Thank you. If you were trading 50 or 60, you'll jump to 85. And with my 2 hours of training, you're going to be there pretty quick.
It looks like we are running out of time here. We want to thank everybody for showing up and attending the webinar. The specials, 20% off, all indicators. It's good till midnight tonight with the coupon code STWebinar912. And also 2 free hours live training one-on-one with Paul Levine. Actually, those are starting to fill up. So if you're interested in those, in the free live one-on-one live market training with Paul Levine, make sure to sign up. Thank you everyone for attending.
Perfect. I'd like to give a special thank you to Matt and Paul for a great presentation. Everyone in attendance here today will receive an on-demand recording of today's event. Please keep an eye out for that email. NinjaTrader Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope you'll attend them on a regular basis. We would like to remind you the information provided in this was of stealth traders and not of NinjaTraders. All information is for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day and hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us at NinjaTrader Ecosystem.